The gentle kingdom of Cambodia, bordered by Thailand, Laos and Vietnam, is rich with thousands of ancient temples spread throughout a land of paddy fields and forests. The resilient Khmer people are the caretakers of this land, and they continue to toil today as they have done for centuries.
The B-52 strategic bomber has been extremely effective in area bombing with conventional munitions.
But 40 years ago, this neutral country was thrust into turmoil when the USA dropped more than 1 million tons of bombs on Cambodia. This paved the way for Pol Pot's brutal regime to take control of the country. From 1975 to 1979, his ruthless Khmer Rouge regime murdered an estimated 2 to 3 million people. Although Cambodia has enjoyed peace for years, the weapons of the bygone war are still killing. Live landmines, which number in the millions, still litter the countryside, debilitating those unlucky enough to come into contact with them. There are around 2,000 Cambodian deminers working tirelessly to rid their country of these silent soldiers. They work collaboratively with international organisations to clear the land faster. Kimiti Gilbert is head of mine action for Belgian organisation APOPO. He is in Cambodia ensuring they are ready for the introduction of a revolutionary way of detecting landmines.
Come to Cambodia like 3 or 4 times a year to check up on our operations. I also spread my time in other parts of the world, Angola, Mozambique, Vietnam, and I'm based in Laos. Also get to Tanzania fairly often as well. So I've been here for the last 10 days or so, going around visiting our teams. We've got 300 plus deminers working in the field, clearing landmines. We're just getting close to the office now, and Tony West is our operations manager. Tony and I used to, we were both in the military together with the New Zealand Army as part of the UN peacekeeping mission to support the elections that were coming up in 1993. And because I hadn't seen Tony for, 15 or 16 years, and he saw this job advertised in Cambodia. He thought it looked interesting, so he did some investigation on this company that I work for, APOPO, and saw my picture. And so he gave me a call. This is still within Siem Reap, but just on the outskirts of the town. The house owner refurbished it earlier this year, so I'm not sure he picked the colour scheme. I would have chosen blue. Tony. Oh,
G'day, Kelly.
How you doing, bro?
Good, mate. Yourself?
Good to see you, mate.
Yeah,
how's it
same
been?
team. Yeah, very good, very good. My main role here is to make sure that the operations are conducted, first of all, safely, and we do that through a lot of quality management checks and just regular inspections of the sites, and make sure they're following their work plans, and also to make sure that things are being done efficiently. So the plan is we'll leave from Siem Reap today and we'll go up to Angkor Thom, which is about an hour and a half away, and we'll visit one of the mobile platoons there, which is conducting land release activities.
Yep, good. Let's go.
Cool.
We're on our way now to visit Platoon 141, and the platoon commander is Sun Wei, who is one of our most experienced platoon leaders. He's well respected within Demining Unit 6. He's going to show us around his minefield and explain what's going on with the teams.
So today.
Hey. Today. Since we were here last time, how many lanes does he have working?
កងខ្ញុំបានមានបុគ្គលិកអស់ចំនួន27នាក់ ក្នុងនោះតាមការចោះស្រាវជ្រាវយើងក្នុងនោះពីការមីននេះមានផ្ទៃដីសរុប198,099 ម៉ែក្រេអញ្ចឹងគោលបំណងនៃការបោះសម្បត្តិយើងទីនេះទី1គឺដើម្បីឲ្យប្រជាពលរដ្ឋដើម្បីយើងកាត់បន្ថយការគ្រោះថ្នាក់ហើយមួយទៀតដើម្បីឲ្យប្រជាជនធ្វើលំនៅឋាននិងកសិកម្ម
Many of these men have had first-hand experience of the devastation caused by landmines. In 1996, Sunvey was a passenger in a truck that ran over an anti-tank mine.
កាលនោះយើងប្រហែលឆ្នាំ1996ហ្នឹងកម្លាំងបោះក្នុងកងខ្ញុំកងលេខ4អញ្ចឹងយើងមកធ្វើផ្លូវយើងពីពួកមកវត្តបងតូនយើងបោះបានតាមផ្លូវទេលំយើងធម្មតាហ្នឹងប៉ុន្តែយើងបោះហួសវត្តហ្នឹងហើយប៉ុន្តែដល់ក្រោយមកដល់ពេលព្រឹកឡើងយើងធ្វើដំណើរទៅបោះសម្បត្តិមានបងទៀតហ្នឹងស្វ័យខំវាមិនដាក់មាននឹងខាងក្រៅនេះវិញអញ្ចឹងពេលកម្លាំងយើងជិះឡានទៅចិនមានតោនបោះស្វ័យខំ ហើយខ្ញុំនោះពេលកណាផ្ទុះមកហោះទៅវាស្រែកាលនោះដូចវាសំណាងដែលយើងមានអាសាក់កដោនឹងស្ពាយទៅវាមកវាប៉ះអាតកាប់ហ្នឹងវាបុកនឹងចឹងខ្នង
Sunvey is one of the lucky ones. Even with training, mine disposal experts expect that for every 5,000 mines cleared, 1 deminer will be killed and 2 will be injured in accidental explosions.
So they found 5 mines since we were here last.
យើងរកឃើញបានយុយអូចំនួន4 ក្រាមហើយយើងរកឃើញព្រឹកមិញមួយនៅកិច្ចការមាន
The vest are made of Twiron CT microfilament, a highly resistant aramid fibre. It's designed mainly as protection against fragments caused by explosives to minimise injury and to protect the vital organs.
Suck it in, man. Suck it in.
Yeah. Visors are made of impact-resistant plastics to protect the face. The mines in Cambodia were led by 3 factions, the Khmer Rouge and the Cambodian People's Armed Forces during the Civil War of the 1970s. And also the Vietnamese who invaded Cambodia to join forces with the Khmer Rouge against the US-backed Cambodian government at the time.
On the 17th of April 1975, the Khmer Rouge stormed Cambodia's capital city. Phnom Penh was systematically emptied of over 1 million people who were forced into labour camps. It was to be known as Year Zero, the year Pol Pot sent Cambodia back into the Stone Age, erasing books, education, private property, religion, money, and all freedom of movement. Shay Huck was only 12 years old when his family was forced from their home at gunpoint. For him, the next 4 years was a time of fear, uncertainty, and desperation.
I was a boy and I think maybe no future because the Khmer Rouge time, you live where you are, they not allow you to walk from one house to one house, one village to one village, no, they not allow you. They say if you are walking to speak to other people, you are enemy. Then they kill you without reason. So what you're doing, you have to keep quiet, look like the dumb people, you know, and blind, you don't see anything else. Oh yeah, I still remember because at that time they forced the man or adult had to working very hard from 7 o'clock in the morning or sometimes 5 o'clock until 6 o'clock and 7 days a week and no holiday, no public holiday, only the Khmer New Year. But that time I was a kid. My job is cowboy. Yeah, I have maybe 50 or 100 cow that I have to look after the cow. This is good job at that time.
From 1975 to 1979, Pol Pot's Khmer Rouge murdered nearly 2 million people, or 1/4 of Cambodia's population.
3 members of my family are losing in the Khmer Rouge time. One of my brother who was died because of our working and starvation, and 2 grandmother died.
When the Vietnamese liberated the Cambodian people, Shea Huck and the survivors of the genocide began the long walk home.
For thousand, on the street, on the road, everywhere you have, and everybody the same. It take us nearly 3 months from the border to Phnom Penh city because we can walk only 10 or 15 kilometers a day because we are too tight and nothing else, no food, no water. You have to survive by yourself.
These mines here are designed to kill you. So they bounce up to a meter and then explode like a big hand grenade. Yeah. And the other blast mines, they're under the ground and they'll just blow your leg off.
Cambodia is one of 78 countries that are still afflicted with these weapons of war. And the only way to remove them is individually at a cost of $300 to $1,000 per mine.
The primary method of detecting landmines and the other types of unexploded ordnance is with metal detectors. And there are various types of metal detectors that we use.
Investigating signals is repetitive and tedious work, but the deminer has to assume that all signals are a potential mine, so must remain focused and not lose concentration. Once a deminer has located a signal, he starts to excavate with a small garden trowel. He must dig very carefully toward the signal because the mines are activated by downward pressure, so the deminer needs to excavate into the side of the mine. When the mine has been exposed, it must also be identified as to whether it is safe to move or whether it should be blown in situ. If it is safe to move, then the deminer must gently remove the soil from the top of the mine without exerting any downward pressure on it. When completely exposed, the mine can then be picked up and placed in a storage pit for demolition.
So how many square meters per day per lane?
យើងនៅទីនេះដោយសារវាមិនបានច្រើនមកចឹងមិនបានច្រើនយើងអាចបានមួយថ្ងៃយើងដែលរត់ខំដែលថាយើងធ្វើនឹងអស់បានតែ100ម៉ែត្រការ៉េ
100 square meters per day per lane.
Yeah, per lane.
Yeah, so this is probably one of the slowest sites we have at the moment. We're getting up to about 432 square metres per deminer per day, and down as low as this one here, but mainly because of vegetation and this particular one, a lot of fragmentation. As he's saying, a lot of cartridge cases, pieces of fragmentation from mortars, artillery, all that sort of stuff. So this one's quite hard going, quite slow progress.
What's he found? So this was the reading there. So frag from a mortar or artillery. So this is what slows everything down. So how many fragments per day? Okay, and these are the other ones, the other examples, casings. So this is typical for this minefield, eh? This is what they're normally finding. The minefield that they're working in is close to a village that has 130 families and around 600 people.
ខ្ញុំដើរទៅធ្វើចង្ការក៏មិនដឹងគេដាក់ទេម៉ែឈឺនៅផ្ទះទៀតខ្ញុំក៏ខ្ញុំមកឡើងមកវិញមកផ្ទះថ្ងៃល្ងាចក៏មានដឹងពពកគេដាក់មានឲ្យឡើងមកក៏មានបានទៅដល់ផ្ទះឲ្យឡើងមកពីព្រីមកឡើងដល់ថ្នល់ក៏ដោយថាឡើងពីនេះឯងឡើងថ្នល់ចេះបាក់ទៅមកមុខទៀតក៏ត្រូវឯង
đời đừng côn rô bằng đời tam an chân đời bằng trái nè chân đừng bị ca còn năm bảy bảy và như thế tự nhiên thôi người ta càng như người ta thui xuống ngoài để kí bỏ xuống át bàn sát chứ trôi trôi chỉ ốp lưng chỉ chơi thui với bàn rồi ngọ
anh ta mình bà bảo bùi chật khai cồn thì tu đỡ đợt đục đợt pri tu khai tu cái cười bà này bảo khất cồn lai tu pri tu ơi cái chết tập đây đam khất cầm ôi cồn linh tam đục tam pri
nhớ được rồiเลย
anh rồi bạn bảo anh bảo nhom miền ơi có nhom rô cách ông tam còi tiền của anh bàn có bảo con bạch vật này mọc ly vô tập tiền ta.
So we're going to today. You're going to take this one out.
Chà này vô trên chừng tới vậy.
So safe to move, no problem. Destroy.
Let's blow it up.
New Zealand in the 1970s was a stark contrast to the atrocities occurring in Cambodia. The idyllic Koroniti, nestled on the banks of the Wanganui River, was where Lois and New Gilbert raised their 4 children, Tikimiti, Shane, Charmaine and Adrian.
My children were lucky. They had the best of both worlds. Yeah, and I don't know how the whole 4 of them have done so, have done really, really well. I still think it was their grandfather that was the influence in their life. Well, his grandfather was Rangi Pōkehā, who's well known along in the Wanganui area, and Kimiti went everywhere with him when he was little. His early years were on the marae. Yeah.
Koroniti or the marae Koroniti, the tūranga. It's the identity. Doesn't matter where they go. They can go anywhere throughout the world, but always remember, there's my tūranga over there.
He was in his 60s by the time I was born. And I spent the first 5 years living with him up at Koroniti in the house. And I just sort of think back, as a teenager growing up, and he wanted me to spend more time up at Koroniti, and I was, wanted to be spending more time in town, and then I sort of think back now I should have spent more time up there with him.
It's running within the young people. They go scattered, and they all come back. We'll go back to the battleship.
Our Cambodian staff, they are the true heroes of the work. They're the ones out there day after day, 7 days a week, for 3 weeks of every month, living in a field camp. Not much luxury out there. There's no hot showers or bathrooms and toilets, and they're away from their families and their children, and they're out there, doing the business and working hard. We go around to check and to monitor their work, but these are the ones that are that deserve the accolade.
It is the same routine every morning for deminers all across Cambodia. These men risk their lives every day in an ongoing effort to clear their country of landmines.
ថ្ងៃទី23 ខែ 5 ឆ្នាំ 2000 បន្ទាប់មកក្រោយមកខ្ញុំក៏ដើរធ្វើការត្រួតពិនិត្យមើលកូនចៅធ្វើការក្នុងនៃជា section commander សិតតែក្រោយមកខ្ញុំក៏បានដើរទៅជន់មីនដែលបុគ្គលិកដែលរាវសល់ដោយសារថាមានតូចហើយនឹងអំបែងច្រើនពេញពីពេញដី3ខែតាំងព្យាបាលទាំងអីរួចដល់3ខែហ្នឹងបានពាក់ជើងចប់មកក៏ខាងអង្គភាពគេឲ្យយើងចូលធ្វើការតាមធម្មតាវិញឲ្យជា section commander វិញមានអារម្មណ៍ខុសប្លែកពីគ្នាដែរថាយើងពីមុនអវយវៈនៅល្អក្រោយមកយើងបាត់បង់អវយវៈមួយជាអញ្ចឹងគេថាមានអារម្មណ៍មួយថាគិតថាលំបាកចិត្តដែរប៉ុន្តែដល់គិតយូរទៅនឹកឃើញហ្នឹងខ្វះគេអ្នកវិការមកកគោបយើងគ្រាន់តែវិការបន្តិចបន្តួចប៉ុណ្ណឹងថាអន់សពោនចិត្តអីជាខំប្រឹងប្រែងធ្វើការបន្តទៅទៀតដើម្បី
In 1992, 7 months after the signing of the Paris peace agreements, New Zealand soldiers were among the 450 United Nations volunteers from 47 countries who were deployed throughout Cambodia.
Leading up to Cambodia's 1993 free elections, the UN sent in teams from around the world, including 3 rotations from New Zealand. Between February 1992 and July 1993, New Zealand committed a total of 97 troops to train demobilised Khmer soldiers in demining. We were in the 3rd rotation.
The New Zealand engineers were the first mine clearance specialists to arrive in Cambodia. They developed the training programs and standard operating procedures. But in order to deliver these programs, they needed translators, and the resourceful Shea Huck jumped at this opportunity after 2 years of being a refugee in Indonesia. The Kiwis were the first team he worked with.
Then I asked them, what job I do in Siem Reap? They say, mine clearance team. I say, oh my God, mine clearance team? I don't know anything about mine. So what can I do? How can I work if I don't know about mine? How you play with the mine? So I was trained nearly 2 months by Kiwi, by day, by night. So the first time when I meet Gilly, I a little bit surprised, because in New Zealand, you have some people are white skin and some people like dark skin. So I say, oh, this is Maori again. Yeah, because they are big and they are tall, and their English a little bit strange from the white skin. But I know, because I work with the first team and second team, all of them are mostly Maori. And we have a little bit fun between that. Sometimes they speak their language. I think I still remember, like, good morning, they say Shurira, something like that, yeah.
Mr. Huck, he's my mate. Huck is a character. I remember when we were here, he talks a lot, and he likes to talk. And he was like that 20 years ago. And he's also a bit of a wheeler and dealer. If you needed something, go see Huck, and he would fix it for you. And then, back then there wasn't much going on in Siem Reap. And whatever we needed for the house or for training or whatever, and he'd get out there and do it. So I remember when we were here, the Angkor Wat temple was, all that area was mine when we were here.
Yeah.
And now, of course, it's a big tourist.
Yeah, big tourist tour.
Yeah.
When 1992, as you can see some temple like Bantiesray or other temple, they're not allowed tourists to see because it's full of landmine that we not been clear yet. Yeah. But at the moment, the tourists can go everywhere, all temple.
Yeah.
Are safe 100%. The mine have been clear. Yeah. Only the border only. This is the way to our school for landmark that we are training the school. Yeah.
Okay.
Kimiti stays with Mr. Huck every time he visits Cambodia. Their friendship has endured 22 years, but the search for the school where they work together training demobilised soldiers to clear mines is proving more difficult.
Okay, so how far down is it?
Yeah, a little bit further, yeah. You have to drive slowly. Even I myself hard to recognize, slowly, yeah. Oh, okay, a little bit, I think a little bit further the school, yeah. Or maybe we cannot go because the road to Gili.
So I remember there's this tower.
Yeah.
Because they built that when we were here.
No, Gili. This is for United Nations, that Australian communication built.
Yeah, let's see what's you may have looked behind that wall.
Despite the obvious teamwork, they couldn't find the old school, but they did find Mr. Dewey, one of the first to be trained by the Kiwi deminers.
Okay, tôi sốc sải on. Sốc sải on. Okay. So tôi was trained 1992 after he passed out with our
on the first team.
Yeah, on the first team.
Yeah.
Tôi was go to work in other province like Banteay Minjay or Sisapon. Yeah, and until 2007.
2007. Yeah. Okay, so 15 years.
15 years.
15 years. As a deminer.
Yes.
What caused Dewey to stop work as a deminer?
តើមូលហេតុអីបានឲ្យអូនឈប់ធ្វើខាងដោះមីនហ្នឹង
វឹកអូនតាក់យើងបាន100 200មែនវាបានលុយច្រើនក៏ប៉ុន្តែឥឡូវ100 200រាល់ថ្ងៃចិញ្ចឹមប្រពន្ធកូនអត់រស់ទេ
Say the problem is the salary because when United Nations 1992, 1993, 45, 46, the salary is more than 200, but the money is well usable for money to support the family. But now everything at the market are expensive.
More expensive.
And the salary is still the same, so he cannot feed his family for small amount of same money 15 years ago. That is the reason he stopped working for migrant team.
Does he know of anything?
tôiមានមិត្តភក្តិដែលគេនៅធ្វើការដោះមីនអូននៅតាក់ទងគ្នាដែរឬក៏នៅច្រើន Yeah, he has a lot of friends who he's still in touch with friends who work for the mining team as well.
And they're still working today?
ឥឡូវនេះគេនៅតែធ្វើការអញ្ចឹង
ឥឡូវគេនៅធ្វើការដូចជាពួកម៉ាក់ខ្ញុំទៅហូបបាយកន្លែងបងគេនៅជួបផ្ទះនៅជិតខ្ញុំ
All of them still working. All of them still working as the mining team everywhere in Cambodia.
Okay, so for 20-something years. Well, my focus was on the military, and that was it. I was just army, do my time. I really enjoyed my time in the army. I travelled a lot of places and allowed me to come to Cambodia and gain some experience with demining. But I wasn't thinking too much past that. And then when it was time, the time was coming up, the 20-year mark was coming up, I sort of didn't really know what I wanted to do. There was work going in Iraq for demining. And I had a friend of mine who was working there. He put in a word for me. I applied for a job, got the job. Initial plan was to be there for 6 months, to earn some money, get home, and then to figure out what I'm going to do. But that 6 months has turned into 15 years.
After his time in the army, the next 15 years saw Kimiti working for the UN, travelling all over the world. Occasionally, his young family would accompany him, giving them a different kind of education.
Yeah, I was just coming on 15, I think. Yeah, we moved to Kosovo. And this was in 2002, so just after the NATO bombings had finished. And so it was still quite a desolate zone when we got there. It was pretty out of it. Because we'd never been to that sort of thing before. I mean, we've seen Dad's photos and where he'd been and what he'd done, but actually seeing it for yourself was a really different experience.
It's eye-opener, seeing people living in half blown up houses with a tarp covering it, And I used to ask her why don't they just move? He said that's the only place they have to go, so they just had to make do. And then we moved to Ethiopia. So that was
a family posting, we called it.
Yeah. So that was another massive eye-opener, just seeing all the poverty.
Most of the time, his family were relatively safe while living in conflict zones. But in 2006, Kimiti had youngest daughter Renee evacuated from Lebanon after a succession of Israeli airstrikes.
Soon after we arrive, there's an exchange south of the city. Hezbollah rockets matched by Israeli shelling.
Just had a fairly loud explosion then. Do you get that regularly here?
Yeah, that was a quiet one actually.
Not far from the UN compound, an Israeli airstrike killed 22 people in this apartment block, and 9 are missing, some of the bodies wedged inside the collapsed structure. It was enough to convince Kimiti Gilbert to get his 8-year-old daughter Renee out of Lebanon.
I just grabbed my daughter, took her downstairs and got her out of there.
She was one of 200 women and children evacuated by the UN last week.
The Gilbert family were unaware of the danger Kimiti and Renee were in until it was all over. But this is something his family has had to get used to, as 3 out of the 4 siblings served in the army.
Oh, there was one time though, wasn't it, when Kimiti was driving around Kosovo and he was in the middle of nowhere. I think that he got held up at a checkpoint or something like that. He told me afterwards, but, held up at a checkpoint, and I went, oh, okay, so what do you do, and he was a little bit nervous. So I'm sure in the time that they were bombing Lebanon, southern tier,
that's right.
we were worried about him then because Renee was there with him as well, and she had to be evacuated, and there was bombs raining down around them.
Sleeping down on the beach.
And Kimiti would just go, oh, I'm okay. Mum was really worried. I mean, ask Mum that question, because I tell you, she'd probably been worried about us on a number of occasions, but, Kimiti especially.
Oh, absolutely, yes. When he was in, as I say, when he was in Cambodia, he got shot at. Yeah, he was lucky he wasn't in his room at that time, yeah. And then, of course, he tells us about when he was out in the mines, when his workmates have had legs blown off, and he's seen the damage, the families, and of course I do.
All the Gilbert siblings are successful. Charmaine, a major in the New Zealand Army. Shane, head of crisis response in the UN. And Adrian is a legal executive.
Can't wait to be there for Christmas.
I know, we can't wait either. So what day are you flying in?
Me, Tane and Renee will fly back on the 8th.
Nice, okay. Cool. It's about the same day, so Shane's going to be out there as well. So he's planning to be up here about the 23rd, didn't he say?
Home is where the heart is. And Kimiti knows you can count on your siblings to bring up shortcomings and, most importantly, remind you of things you may have forgotten.
Can I just find out how many roofs you've fallen off? Is it 4 or 5?
I fell off the roof up the river there.
Twice. Twice.
And Waka, down at Waka.
And down at Waka, I fell off that when I was like 5 or 6 years old.
Yeah. Well, I'm just finding out that Kimiti was a bully. I didn't know that. You're going to find out more about your childhood when you see the documentary than you would have remembered.
Yeah, because you were a bully. You remember that?
He was not.
Yes, he was.
And what we don't remember, we'll just make up.
What do you mean he wasn't? See, you always favoured him.
He was a bully.
Wouldn't say the favourite. That's what my brothers and sisters think. But
I joined the army first, and then when I became an officer, I was commissioned as an officer, I spent a year or 2 years in Wairu being a platoon commander as a young second lieutenant. And he was in one of my platoons. So having your older brother in your platoon was interesting.
if you see an officer, doesn't matter who the officer is, you're supposed to salute. That's, you have to do it. And a few of the times, I saw him around camp, walking down, I said, and as long as there wasn't anyone else around, I'd say, he's, hey, you're supposed to be saluting me. Yeah.
They have yet to salute me, both of them. They managed to get through their whole army careers without saluting me, but there you go. They made a point of it, but that was all right.
I know he's pretty cool about it. That was part of the deal, being in the army and also being family. So this Christmas is the first time, I think, in 5 years since we've all been together as a complete family. And normally, because Shane is in the UK, but this year he's coming back to New Zealand for Christmas. So he hasn't met my son yet. He hasn't met Tane. So Tane is 4.5, almost 5. So and also was pregnant the last time we met up with him. We stayed overnight in Mozambique border town, which is 1 kilometre from the Cambodian-Thai border. In Otaminche province, Sam Reap district, we visited Mobile Platoon 143. Here the area that needs to be released covers 153,655 square metres, which would take the team 12 to 14 days. This platoon has a mechanical brush cutter working on their site, which is a Hitachi excavator, which is armoured and has a brush cutter attachment affixed to it. And it's used for removing vegetation, which speeds up the process of the manual mine clearance. One of the biggest problems that we have with detecting metal mines is contamination within the soil. So there's a lot of other types of metal in the soil which give us signals that we need to investigate. And obviously this slows down the process, which is why we also employ animals which detect explosives as opposed to detecting metal.
Animals are widely used in the field of mine detection. Kimiti is preparing Cambodia for the introduction of a relatively new advancement in mine detection, using this unlikely hero.
The rats are unique to APOPO. No other organisation have the rats. Many organisations have mine detection dogs, but we're the only ones with the rats. And there is some scepticism within the mine action community with regards to the rats. Some people see them as a bit of a gimmick and don't really understand what the rats are all about. We've used them very successfully in Mozambique for 8 years now. And we've introduced them now into Angola for just over a year, and they've proven themselves in the field, and they are effective.
Founder Bud Widgeon's long-standing interest in rats was to form the basis of his research in 1997, which led to the creation of APOPO and the move to Morogoro, Tanzania in 2000.
And he was looking for a cheap yet innovative solution for the landmine problem. And he has been keeping pet rats when he was a little boy. And then he noticed how strong their sense of smell is. And he read about an article when they were using rats to actually detect explosives in airports and all that. Then he put 2 and 2 together and he came to train the rats to detect the landmines. And then later on, he also figured out that if the rats could smell TNT, they would possibly be also able to smell tuberculosis. So he then developed that project as well. We have our own breeding center here. So whenever there is a request from one of the programs, we couple males and females to produce hopefully some litters.
At the age of 4 weeks, in fact, when the rats open the eyes, then we start taking small rats from the mother and socializing them. We always put them back. And after a few weeks of socialization, where they get used to different people, different smells, sounds, and all that, we start clicker training.
My job is a laboratory attendant. Now, I try to habituation a rat in order to be a friend with human being in order to start pre-training. Normally, after 4 weeks, it is started habituation. After 5 weeks, I give it to the trainer in order to start pre-training.
this is click training. When I click, I have to give the rat a food, so that when he get to know that if I hear the click, I get a food. Yeah.
The next step is that the rat has to do something to get this click and food reward. So, for example, it has to walk to a hole, sniff, and click food, click food. In the next stage, the task will be made a bit more difficult. For example, it comes on a soil surface, or it's given the opportunity of 2 or 3 holes. It has to make a choice between a hole which contains a certain smell and other holes which don't contain that smell. So there, the rat will learn to differentiate one odor from other odors and will start to associate, for example, the smell of TNT with the click and the food reward. From there on, we gradually make it more difficult, step by step, so the rat will get more and more choices. The choices will get more difficult, and then eventually it will become mines, which initially are surface buried, and then the mines will get deeper and deeper, and the areas will get bigger. So the whole training process as such takes about 9 months.
The thing with mines and animal detection, the longer the mines are in the ground, the easier it is for the animals to find the odour, because that allows the vapour to permeate through the soil and come up. And so it's generally harder for the rats to find mines in these sort of scenarios, because generally they haven't been in the ground for that long, as opposed to minefields where the mines have been there for 20 plus years. So the pink boxes that we have here are our training boxes, and these boxes are 10 metres by 20 metres. So what we have are 2 metre wide lanes in between each of the boxes. And within a real minefield, this is how we would set up normally, where we'd use manual deminers to create these lanes through the minefield and then create these boxes. We would then use the rats to search these boxes. And this is where the rats speed the process up. So instead of the deminers clearing all this entire area, all they're doing is doing maybe 20% of that area. And the rats are finishing off with the last 80%, which they can do much, much quicker than a manual deminer could ever do.
We're confident in them, but it's like any new approach. It's going to take some time before people accept that this animal is doing a job that a human's doing. The same when they introduce dogs into this country, people going, why would you trust a dog? It's a process. It's just a process.
We were planning to have the rats here by the 4th quarter of this year, in the last 3 months of this year, of 2014. We've had a delay on that because we need to work through the Cambodian government and the Ministry of Agriculture issue import licenses for any animals that are brought into this country. We were very close to having that a couple of months ago. There's been, of course, the Ebola outbreak that has been going on throughout the world, and the problem, by all accounts, is not getting better. It's in fact probably getting worse. There's a lot of fear about the disease, and these are rats, and which also have a stigma attached to them, without disease, but just because they're rats. And also not only are they rats, but they're coming from Africa. So that is the issue that we're dealing with, and it's taking time for us to get through that and working together with our Cambodian partners and through the Cambodian government. So even though they're ready to come, they're fully trained, we still need to follow up with continuation training. Otherwise, they'll start to become lazy. It's a constant thing, and that's for our staff back in Tanzania to do.
Even with the introduction of the MDRs, or mine detection rats, one thing remains the same. That is, the disposal of mines and bombs. This still has to be done manually by deminers.
So what they're going to do for this one is they make up a small charge, which they'll place on the top of the anti-tank mine, and it will be initiated electrically from our current position. Now you've got Mr. Unpik
He's already calculated how much explosive he needs, and he'll get the little blocks of TNT, and he's going to, you'll see him put them together in a bit of an arrangement, tape them all up with the deck cord around them. You can see while they're doing this, they've got all their personal protective equipment on, because again, when he's doing the most dangerous part of the process is actually the placement of the detonator. And when he does that on his own, and that's the most hazardous activity he'll do. So he has his helmet with his visor, blast proof visor and vest on. And in this temperature, it's not very comfortable, I can tell you. These guys do this every day, sometimes several times a day, so they're pretty proficient at what they're doing. Today it's only one anti-tank mine, a TM46, and it has about a bit over 6 kilograms of explosive in it. Last month this team reportedly found about 10 anti-tank mines, that is. And we've got 4 teams in the mining unit, and over CMAC there's over 25 teams, so it would be in the hundreds every month that they're still finding just of anti-tank mines. The majority of what we find are, in actual fact, UXO, or unexploded ordnance, and then anti-personnel mines. They take quite a bit of pressure to set them off, a couple of 100 kilograms, and they are just designed to immobilise tanks. So you can imagine if you ran over one with the little wee motorised tractor they have here or in a car, there's not much left.
Chẳng hay phím chăm hay bóp chia bị nhóm rốt đọc pram khi nhóm chập đam cùng tích. Ok chẳng. Pram, 4, 3, 2, 1.
We're here to get the job done. We're not here to provide employment. It's a finite problem. And Cambodia signed up the Anti-Personnel Man-Mine Treaty, which they now have a deadline of 2020. So it's another 6 years from now, but still there's a lot of work to be done. And this is a way to speed that process up.
It's the end of a tough year. The rats are not yet in Cambodia, but for now, it's time to rest. It's Christmas, and Te Kimiti has been looking forward to going back to New Zealand, to Koroniti with wife Orsa and his 2 youngest children, Tane and Renee. It's truly a celebration, as it's the first time in 5 years that all the Gilberts have spent Christmas together.
I think it's important for people that live outside of New Zealand, and for me especially, is having an anchor in your life, where some place you call home. So if everything goes bad and you need to move back home, then you have somewhere to go. And Koroniti is that for me. And I think, and it was also for all of our family, that is our home. And it's so important to have that. I love going back there. And I'll make a point of every year coming home at least once a year, just to relax and chill out and be surrounded by family. And it's simple as that.
I'm just really proud of Dad. I mean, growing up in such a small area and into the big wide world where he is now.
I'm so proud of him. He's such a great role model. And because of and Mum, I've always wanted to have a great career, and I've got something to aspire to, not just be like the average Joe. Yeah, just so proud he's my dad.
We actually get on really well, and I don't know how that happened or when that happened, because as we were typical children, we didn't really necessarily like each other. There was that age difference. When they were teenagers, we were just a pain.
He probably likes us a bit more. and as you grow up, you appreciate each other as adults.
No, they are And it's just proud, and it's not just me, it's Ngāti Pā Moana, you know, all our children that do well, that everybody's happy for them, and if they don't do so well, we're all there to up. That's the sort of community we are here. It's a really, really good community.
There's an old saying here, where you are kunni, hey manua, toko te pala hey manua, hare ko te ngā puti ririki, hare te moana, te ka hauki mai anō. You may go on your little boats, but always return back to the man of war, the battleship.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.